I'd like to call the meeting to order. Ms. Burns, roll call, please.
Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
Mr. Parentano?
Present.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mrs. Bowman?
Here.
Ms. Boyle?
Here.
Mr. Feather?
Here.
Mrs. Hallenbeck?
Present.
Mr. Kovitz is absent with prior notice. Mr. Meriton?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, issues related to labor relations, and matters related to school safety and security. The district mission statement, the Neshaminy community builds futures by empowering each child to become a productive citizen and a lifelong learner. Mrs. Burns, any announcements?
No announcements.
Thank you. Mr. Jones, Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. The artwork in our gallery has been provided by Hoover Elementary School. Each month, we feature a different school, and so this is the Hoover Spotlight. Mr. Bursk is their art teacher there, does phenomenal work. The artwork he writes demonstrates the breadth of techniques, styles, and cultural connections, from the African-inspired mask paintings to the Dada-inspired portrait collages. We find our starting points throughout the world, focusing on the construction of images by using specific tools and methods. Fourth graders have created two-color reduction relief prints from carved rubber printing plates, while kindergartens have used cardboard to print and build images of buildings. It's impressive just how much we are able to accomplish in our art classes across the district, and here's another example from an elementary school, and so we thank Mr. Bursk and the students at Hoover. In the report, there's also an enrollment report. In my report, there's an enrollment report on the district. Each month we provide that to give an update on our school enrollment. There's a reference to a senior property tax freeze proposal that has been announced by local Representative Frank Farry, but it gives us opportunity to remind you that the district has had for a long term, 40 years now, a senior citizens tax assistance plan. And so for those of you who would qualify, there's information online, and the application due date is June 15th. This is Teacher Appreciation Week. We thank all the hard work of our teachers across the district in all 10 of our schools. You could look at any of our We Build Future award recognitions and see why people are being nominated, and they are just the tip of the iceberg. Good people across the district doing good work day in, day out, and so we thank our teachers and want to show that appreciation this evening. In my report, I also include some interesting information from the Pennsylvania State Data Center on population analysis. They break down population growth in Pennsylvania by county, and I just thought it would be good information to share both with the board and with you as the public, just to kind of see how Bucks County ranks in terms of the growth of the residents. We would like to congratulate our Future Business Leaders of America students who competed at the state level. We have 4 students, congratulations, who are going on and will be attending the National FBLA competition in June in San Antonio, Texas. They'll compete against other top winners from the United States, Puerto Rico, and Guam. And they are 9th grader Ohinma Afosu Mensah. She's a 9th grader who is in an Introduction to Financial Math program and placed first in the state. And then we had 2 students team up, entrepreneurship team, Joey Nolan, 12th grader, and Dan Gutman, 11th grader, and Aaron Lewis in banking and financial services. He will move on as well. So congratulations to the 4 of them. We handed out We Build Futures awards this past month, to Mr. Breslin, Jim Breslin, our Coordinator of Student Affairs at Pequessing, Danielle Dias, teacher at Albert Schweitzer, Bill Lever, teacher here at Maple Point Social Studies, Danielle Mancini, teacher at Albert Schweitzer, 4th grade teacher Grant Passman, school counselor at Pequesson, Jeff Rodas, learning support teacher at Pearl Buck, Kathy Radzewski, teacher at Tawanka, and then also 2 members of the Rotary who support our students both at Furtabar and at Pequesson, Suzanne Pasidi and Anne Marie Metis. And those awards are recognition of people who help us accomplish our district mission or support the enactment of our strategic plan. And so we thank all of them for doing the wonderful work that they do. Finally, we had a great STEAM Expo last week, crowded high school, an exciting place. And I know that we had some people affiliated with our school who were there for the first time, and they came away impressed. This is a multi-year. This is I think it was maybe our 4th annual, though it could be more than that. And by now we've got it down pretty well in terms of how we conduct that night. Our kids are engaged. It's exciting, and it does excite them with respect to the science, technology, and mathematics that we have to offer. And then finally, there is one last note. It seems like almost every month the Pequesson Select Choir is being recognized, and they were winners at a local festival held at Central Bucks for a whole variety of things. They just do really good work there, and so congratulations to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. This month on Board Docs, there's a report from Mrs. Markowitz, the business administrator. So you can go log on to Board Docs and review that, should you like to. We have a presentation tonight. Mr. Jones, could you take this?
So we've had all of our elementary schools reporting out in our public forums here to provide the board and the public an update on some of the good things that are happening. This is our 6th of the 6 elementary schools. I'd like to introduce Mr. Bedolis, the principal at Miller, Walter Miller Elementary School. Mr. Bedolis.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. My pleasure to bring to you Makerspace. I'd also like to recognize Mrs. Alford, who is a teacher at Walter Miller, and Miss Story, our librarian. So I have them here as well. And I have a great group of students that enjoy Makerspace activities. And this is implemented during our library time. And it's interactive and engaging. So I thought it was perfect for tonight's presentation. So I'm going to hand it off to Miss Story, my librarian. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Story, and I am the Library Media Specialist and AE teacher at Walter Miller Elementary School. I wanted to share with you tonight some highlights of the Makerspaces program I designed and am piloting at Walter Miller. I had the good fortune to attend with my elementary librarian colleagues a Makerspaces workshop in the spring of 2017. While there, we learned how the maker movement is sweeping the nation, enabling students to move from being strictly consumers to becoming creators and collaborators with access to tools and materials, allowing for student choice in what and how they create. And we learned how making promotes understanding of the design process inherent in STEAM education. From there, and with the help and encouragement of Mrs. Adamson of Albert Schweitzer Elementary, I developed a Taste of Makerspace program that introduces making and makerspaces to my 3rd and 4th grade library students. How a makerspace transforms a classroom can be difficult to explain, so I've put together a video featuring our 3rd and 4th grade students who've helped pioneer our making program and to show how we use our space and materials to investigate our maker challenges. I have been so proud of our students and the ways they've worked together, persevered, and injected their creativity into each of our Maker challenges. Now, some of our Makerspace veterans from Mrs. Alford's fourth grade class would like to share with you some of the projects they liked best from the past 2 years.
Hello, my name is Amaya. We brought in our ocean in our bottles to share with you because they are very calming and fun to create. Hi, my name is Cindy. There were 2 separate kinds of bottles you can make, but you can't mix them. There are glitter bottles and oil bottles. Hello, my name is Juliana. I brought him a message bracelet. I like making these because it has a positive message that I hope inspires people. Hi, my name is AJ. We brought in squishy circuits because we think it's very creative and fun to use because the possibilities are endless.
Hi, my name is Carter. Squishy circuits are fun to play with because you can connect many different components to each other and make them light up.
Hello, my name is Trevor. I brought in straw connectors. I really liked using them because you can use engineering, ideas, creativity, and your imagination when building with them.
Hi, my name is Michael. I like the Kiva planks because you get to create your own structures and contraptions that you can use with the Kiva ball.
Thank you very much. We do have our kits, our making kits that we'd like to share with you, and our students will be bringing them up. So thank you for your time tonight.
All right, Miller, thank you so much. I know there was a lot of dialogue that the audience didn't get a chance to hear here that was taking place at the table. I think our kids really demonstrated a lot of excitement about what they were doing in those class experiences, those class challenges. And I know a couple of board members, especially one who's a fellow teacher, was taking some quick notes there in terms of what could be done. And there was really a lot of interesting depth to the assignments. And so thank you for sharing today. We'd like to take a picture and give our students a chance to recognize the fact that they were here at a board meeting with a certificate of thanks and appreciation. So guys, if you could come forward, please.
Okay, that brings us to our first public comment period. Jennifer, do we have anybody?
No one signed up.
Okay. If anyone didn't know they needed to sign up, you can approach the podium now. State your name, where you live, your occupation. There is a second comment period at the end of the meeting also, so. Okay. That brings us to, we have a few action items tonight. 2.01, personnel administrative appointments. There's two. I will read them both. First, resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the contract for employment of Don B. Irwin, Jr. to the position of School Business Administrator, effective July 1, 2019, at a salary of $157,000 to be prorated in connection to Mr. Irwin's release from his current contract and ultimate start date at Neshaminy. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Hollenbeck. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay. We need a roll call. We need a roll call.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mrs. Bowman?
Aye.
Ms. Boyle? No. Mr. Feather?
Yes. Hey. Hey.
Mrs. Hallenbeck?
Yeah, aye.
Mr. Marrington?
Yes.
Mr. Parentano?
Aye.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no.
Okay, thank you. Second item under personnel, resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the appointment of Judith K. Markwarski to the position of Financial Service Manager effective June 1, 2019, at a salary of $92,000 prorated. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Puritano. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Mrs. Bowen, could you do 2.02?
Sure. 2.02, School Resource Officer Agreement. Whereas the Public School Code of 1949, as amended at Section 617, grants authority to a school district to enter into agreements with other political subdivisions to provide for the safety and security of its students and to secure the services of a school resource officer, SRO, who may be an employee of other political subdivisions, and whereas the Neshaminy School District and Lower Southampton Township have agreed to specific terms and conditions of the services to be performed and provided by an SRO set forth in the attached School Resource Officer Interagency Agreement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Neshaminy School Board of Directors hereby approves the School Resource Officer Interagency Agreement with Lower Southampton Township.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Puritano. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 8-0. Before we move on, I would like to make one comment that Mrs. Markowski is here tonight, so I just wanted to recognize her from the floor.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. The following items are for approval at the public meeting. 3.01, annual appointments for 2019-20. 3.02, appointment of a treasurer. 3.03, contracted services for 2019-2020. 3.04, contracted transportation services for 2019-20. 3.05, miscellaneous services for 2019-20. 3.06, contract with Bucks County PASS program. 3.07, acceptance of donation. 3.08, bid approvals. 3.09, budget transfers. 3.10, Sunday facility usage. 3.11, out-of-district placement. 3.12, homebound instruction. 3.13, 2019-2020 proposed final budget. 3.04, Bucks County Intermediary Unit Number 22, Special Education Contracted Services for 2019-2020, and 3.15, Bucks County Technical High School budget for 2019 and 2020. That brings us to the committee reports. Business operations, Mrs. Hollenbeck.
Our next business operations meeting is actually tomorrow. Here, it's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow.
Okay.
Here at 6:30, and it will all be about the proposed final budget. So if anybody has questions or concerns about the budget, wants your voice to be heard, that is the time and place to be there. Thank you.
Educational development, Ms. Boyle?
Yes, okay. The next educational development meeting will be on the 14th. And we will be discussing, among other things, the concept of class rank and college admission. What? No, okay.
Next one's
Yeah. mhm. What's this? The next policy meeting is going to be on the 28th. Okay, and we will be discussing the Series 300 of the bylaws.
Sorry
And-
about
and-
confusion. Yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
The IU meeting is going to be on the 22nd, Okay, and it's going to be held,
You lost your mic there, Irene.
it's going to be held at the Lower Southampton Early Learning Center, and, which is located in Feasterville. And it's going to be a dedication of the playground at 5 o'clock, and everybody's welcome to come.
Sorry for cutting in there. Facilities and planning evidently didn't make it on board docs. So facilities and planning, our next meeting is next Wednesday night, the 16th. Yeah, that will be Thursday, the 16th, and it's at, where's it tomorrow?
It's at, wait a minute, we moved it?
We moved it, right.
We didn't move it.
We didn't move it.
It's at Miller. I
Miller,
think.
right.
Miller.
Yeah, Miller, yeah.
But it is the 16th.
It is the 16th. Yeah, the 16th. It was moved from the 15th. Good.
What's on the agenda? Do you know what's on the agenda yet for the 16th meeting?
We're still working through it.
The one thing will be long-range facility
Field
planning and
planning.
finalizing summer, one item for sure will be the long-range facility plan, because we have to take that number that's now about, I think, 2.3 million, 2.4 million, and work it down to the 1.8 that's actually in the budget, the proposed budget at this time. So that's a major activity for that meeting.
Okay. I just want to get clarification too, because I've had a lot of contact from the public in regards to the proposed Verizon tower in Lower South.
Good point. Thank you. We tried to have that same night, the representatives from Verizon be there. That's not going to be possible for them, so we're going to have a separate meeting for two things, that tower as well as the demographic study. So we'll have two representatives out, one for each of those topics, and that's a date to be determined, probably in early June. And we're going to do it in the Furtibar Elementary School.
Okay, is it possible to put something out there on the website or something? Because I've been telling people to come to this meeting, that the next meeting was where they
Right.
could have their voices to be heard. And if they're not going to have their voices heard, I don't want them to feel shortchanged if there's going to be a special meeting just for that.
We can do that, yeah.
Thank you.
IU? IU, yeah.
Just so we're clear, we're having two separate special meetings or one special meeting that's going to include both topics? Okay.
Yeah. one
The
meeting.
latter. We were originally going to have a separate meeting for demographics, and we were going to have the Verizon rep come to the meeting that was planned. He or she could not make it, and so we're going to move them to the special meeting for demographics, date to be determined.
Neshaminy Education Foundation?
No update at this time.
Thank you. PSBA liaison? No update?
You can only hope. This time of year, there's a lot of information coming out of the PSBA. Most of it, of course, revolves around the budget, state budget, that being said. But I believe it was April 29th, the Advocacy Day up at Harrisburg to meet the legislators. 200 school board directors, superintendents showed up. So they had a really great turnout, and they focused their day. Most of the day was focused on charter school funding reform, but they talked about other issues ranging from, collective bargaining all the way through the Keystone test and all the other factors, including finance, that affects us as districts. On the terms of charter school funding, the Auditor General, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Excuse me. Where did it go? Here it is. The PA House is moving a bill for voucher increases. Currently, they're looking for about $100 million worth of educational improvement tax credits for a school voucher program, pays for tuition in private religious schools. Doesn't say where that funding is going to come from. We spoke about this issue last couple meetings. There's lots of contingencies, and there's lots of constituents that want these services, and legislature is still moving plans for that. Cybersecurity is a big topic. They're trying to move for schools to get a investment from the state to improve our cybersecurity. We do a lot of that on our own, but there seems to be a statewide effort to make sure the systems are secure as they can be. $40 million in competitive school grants have been authorized, and about half the school districts, about 250 school districts, will be getting these grants. Did we get the answer on ours, Joe?
We did not get the secondary grant, we got the base grant.
We did get the base grant? Okay.
All schools got the base grant. We were not in that 50%.
We were not in the
Yes.
50%, thank you. And the school funding fight at the Capitol, right now it's estimated that Pennsylvania school districts are being overbilled by almost $200 million a year by the cyber schools. This goes to the issue of cyber school reforms. This is something that the head of the Pennsylvania School Board Association brought forth, and they're working with the state legislature to put more controls in place to make sure that the funding goes where the funding goes. And one of the last issues related to collective bargaining was part of the fallout from the Janus decision last year. That affects public sector unionized employees, whether or not they pay fair share or not, and how that's going to impact going forward. There was a quote from someone from the NEA that they expect nationwide they may lose as many as 3 million members nationwide through that. But this is the first year that they're going to be able to have statistics to find a track to how much that's impacting collective bargaining or not, and they hope to have some reports on that in the future. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, you alluded to the Janus decision. John, could you elaborate on that? What exactly is that?
Sure. It's a case that came out, I think, last year, Steve, you said? It basically states that that public sector employees can't be forced to join a union. They can opt out of that, and they don't have to pay union dues and the like.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Allen, tech school?
Good evening. The Joint Board of the Tech School met April 23rd, 7 p.m. The 6 districts came together. The primary conversation we had that was on the agenda was the tech school budget that I believe you've all received a copy of to at least look over. I'll just throw the more important, the numbers. The budget comes in at tech school $29,894,030, of which our share would be $5,282,094 if we so approve. That's a share that is up $502,000 from last year. Some of that is carryover from the old agreement. Remember, we are starting the articles of agreement that we ratified, right? So that is our share now represents our students we're actually putting in there now, which I am pleased to say, last 2018 through 2019, the enrollment from Neshaminy for the tech school were 307 students. We are projected 2019 through 2020. Keep in mind this moves weekly, but it's about 310 to 315 students. Very pleased with that. That was the gist of the budget conversation. We also gave out student honors. There were 5 Eagle Scouts in the audience. Winner of the automotive tech competition. I'm sorry, I do not have the exact competition's name. Also, I wanted to hit a couple quick things here that pardon me, as I, Skills USA state winners, just to rattle a few numbers off. Students brought home a total of 23 medals, 11 gold, 5 silver, and 7 bronze. The gold medal winners will go on to compete at the national level in June in Louisville, Kentucky. So good showing by Bucks County Tech. The other thing I wanted to report on was the Challenge Day was held, it's the 9th annual Challenge Day on April 9th. Challenge Day is to help stop bullying, violence, and alienation through activities, participation, some role play, all that. This is their 9th time doing it. Apparently, it's a very successful program and well thought of within the tech school, and I think it's. I just wanted to make a report on that. The date kept being moved around some. Honestly, it tends to be a very emotional time for everyone involved, but I understand it was a success this year. I just wanted to report on that. I think that's it from here. And other of interest that came up, very preliminary discussion, was an idea that while we have the PSBA meetings, we also have the intermediate unit meetings for school boards in general. We don't seem to have a forum for local school districts as far as school board members being able to interact with each other and toss ideas around, meet with our local reps. So an idea was brought forward that the tech school, being that it already brings together 6 districts, could possibly host an event of that type, maybe even a monthly event. I said it's very preliminary, but I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention that has been discussed. And I think it might be a very good idea. Because if you stop and think about it, we only meet each other, other board members may be at the tech banquet, So, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I think the fellow next to me has a question.
Getting back to the budget that you mentioned and our allotment, the old system was like you're paying 2 years in the rear, right? Because you had to catch up.
Yes.
Okay, so there was always a chance that every 2-year cycle you would see a big increase or you would see a big decrease. Okay, but we also, as I understand it, made available for more slots for kids because we have an enormous amount of children that want to go into the program. Many times we can't fill all those slots. So were you able to, or were they able to estimate how much of the increase was related to the catch-up versus how much we're going forward? You have that?
May I pass that to you, because I know that we've had that discussion.
Right.
So you make a good point, because when we passed the new agreement, I think the belief would be that we were operating under the new percentage basis, flat, where we would only see the Act 1 increase. But the reality was that in the language of the agreement, there is this, what they're terming a run-out of the old system. So there is this lag, the 2-year lag. And so as a result, this is the last year where that's still impacting the budget. Starting next year, whatever that averaged Act 1 increase is for the 6 school districts should be basically the increase that each school district sees, with a slight difference because of some vocational funding that different districts receive versus others. So that'll start effective next year. This swing was because last year we did have a significant decrease off of our number by a couple $100,000. So now that wasn't in play, and maybe a plus $50,000. So it's really almost a, hold on, I have it right here, Neshaminy. It's a $312,000 of this of the $502,000. $312 is still part of the old system.
Okay.
And that's what would go away in the future.
Right. All right, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much for that detail, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Okay, that brings us to the second public comment period. Please approach the podium, identify yourself, your occupation.
Hi, Susie Drake, Neshaminy High School teacher, resident of Pendel, alum, Neshaminy Federation of Teachers vice president, and Ed Foundation rep. I just wanted to invite you all to our semi-annual Bertucci's event on May 20th and 21st. All day we get a bunch of the proceeds, we usually bring in about $1,000 that gets recycled to teacher grants and scholarships. Also, our ever-popular restaurant raffle baskets are still available for purchase at any school building. And as a representative of the NFT, I would like to formally thank our 620-plus educators who are in front of our students every day, teaching them the curriculum, helping them to become productive lifelong learners, and helping them to be wonderful representatives of Neshaminy internationally every single day. And as always, we could not do it without our support staff by our side every step of the way. Thank you.
My name is Sue Monreal, and I live in Feasterville, and I am a Neshaminy School District bus aide on the special needs bus. And we're here this evening to bring up the issue of summer employment for the Neshaminy School District bus aides that work on these buses during the summertime. Last year, when we wanted to work, we had to apply through Source for Teachers, and we were offered exactly half of our hourly bus rate. And we were really offended by that. But none of Neshaminy's bus aides applied for this, and several other people did apply for this, but none of them showed up on the first day of extended school year. So with that happening, school bus drivers were brought in as the bus aides, and they were paid their normally bus hour rate. So in the end, that basically backfired on the district because it ended up costing the district more by hiring the bus drivers to fill in our position. So this is the second summer now that this year we're being offered our jobs through the school district, but again, we're not being offered at our normal pay rate. So is it worth it for us to accept this less pay rate? The extended school year is basically 5 weeks of the year, of the summertime, and it runs 4.5 to 5 hours for each bus aide to work at 20 days of the whole summer. So is that really worth it also? Are you saving any money on us? Some of the students that we transport to the extended school year program are not even transported by Neshaminy during the school year, and some of these students have more severe needs and are even transported with a nurse on board the bus too. We are confident in our work, and we have our students' parents' confidence, and we've spent many years on these buses. Myself, I've been on for 17 years. We get to know our students and their parents. We watch them grow, and we know what their special needs are. Please don't nickel and dime us, and please don't put strangers on these buses either, people that have never worked with special needs students before, just to save a small amount of money, which could end up again costing you more in the end. Is it really worth it? And please consider this also. Are you worth less at your job in the summertime? Would you truly be willing to accept an offer like this?
Good evening. My name is Connie Esmont. I'm a bus aide at Neshaminy, and I live in Langhorne. A couple of weeks ago, the current bus aides were notified that Neshaminy was offering our summer job at a lower rate of pay. The drivers, however, will get paid their current rate. I've been a school bus aide for special needs students at Neshaminy for 9 years. I know each student on my bus, and each one is needs based by experience, communication with their parents, and their caregivers. Special needs students are the most vulnerable students in our district, and they need and require a dedicated and knowledgeable aide to get them to and from their educational experience. With only a few bus aid jobs available in the summer work, the pool of experienced and reliable applicants with a rate of pay of $12.50 will be few. I think you all might have a misconception of what a bus aid really does. One, we make sure all students are secured, whether that be in a wheelchair, a harness, a car seat, seatbelts. And the whole time we're doing that, we could be dodging fists, getting our hair pulled, getting verbally abused. And then, that's not all students, but that can happen, especially like Sue said, we have students that are not transported during the regular school year and have more needs than some of our students, and it does take a while to get acclimated to them. Then there are the severe cases of children with seizures. If you don't know them, you might not know what to do. I have a student who will call me when she's about to have one. Even though this event may be only 1 or 2 minutes, you are taking care of the student while the bus is moving. The whole time you still have a busload of students beside her on the bus. The most important part of this is the safety of the child, and that is what I do provide. All of our aides have many different stories that they can tell you about what happens on our buses every day. The summer is no different. Please reconsider the decision to use inexperienced and lower-paid individuals to provide aids for those students that need the most care this summer. These students deserve a better chance of success than this decision implies. Thank you.
Else? Anyone have any future topics? Board comment?
I have a couple comments. I wanted to thank the ladies that came up. That is something that, I'm a public school teacher. I work with a lot of special needs students. I was actually surprised and taken back to hear that report tonight. I will ask some questions and find out what's going on, because I'm looking around and not a lot of people up here know where that came from. So thank you for raising that to our attention. And I'd also like to thank the Lower Southampton Board of Supervisors for recognizing that school safety is not just a school issue, but a community issue. I wanted to thank them for their commitment to our children, and thank specifically Chief Krimmel, who worked very closely with both boards to put the SRO program into Pequessing, Tawanka, and Furtabar. So thank you to the Lower Southampton Board of Supervisors.
To the women who just came to the podium, I want to thank you. I have nothing but respect for what your aides do and the drivers who drive special needs children. Many of you may know that my brother, special needs student, and often got on a bus full of other similar students. This is the first that I've been made aware of this, and it will be looked into. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to echo Miss Drake's comments about Teacher Appreciation Week and our, not just our teachers, but our staff too, that helps out with our children and making sure that they get the most they can get out of the education that we have to offer. I want to thank our Miller students tonight for coming out and showing us what they've been doing, and their teachers that support them. The Lower Southampton Township Supervisors for working with us, and I want to also point out the amount of time that Mrs. Bowman spent on this program over the last 6 months, making sure it got done. We really appreciate all the extra time and work that you put in on that. It was very important to the district, and I'm glad we could finally get it done. So now we have a program throughout the entire district, so thank you for that. Other than that, I will not be able to make the meeting on the 22nd, when I would usually, last meeting in May, I would make this speech, but, and I do miss the Bertucci's thing. We did that last year, so I'll get you on one of the baskets since we won't be able to do the Bertucci's thing. But this year, through Stevie's Fund, we're, again, through the generosity of this community, going to be able to offer 2 scholarships to the graduating seniors at Neshaminy High School that are pursuing a career in engineering, and also 1 student through the Lower Southampton Athletic Association for excelling in community service. My family, from my daughter, my wife, and myself, and our extended family, just again to our appreciation for the support that the community has continues to offer us, and we hope these students I wish these students well on their next endeavor and going out there, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Make a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. Meeting adjourned.